During the Cold War, America bested the Soviets in a great many things. The race to the moon, hockey. But there was another war, a hidden war. Another race to be the first country to develop the live-action version of the Hobbit film, in which America failed. And that's what this episode is about. The USSR Hobbit film. That's right. The Russians beat us to it. And this depiction
The hidden
of
war.
Hobbit is a fucking gem, my audience. We've actually done this before. This is actually going to be a repeat of an episode me and Steve did because YouTube felt the need to take it down. So forgive us if you have heard this all before, but we didn't have Luke or Dave on this one. And I know that they thought this was probably a fucking treasure because this was one great piece. I mean, it is totally Russian made. So we start off, of course, with Bilbo, who's played by. Well, actually, no. We start off with who is supposedly J.R. Tolkien in this fucking warehouse. That he has an umbrella too. If anyone doesn't notice, I don't know why he has a goddamn umbrella in this warehouse, but he does. And might I add, it's also the
Because it
same
leaks in the
set.
ceiling.
In Russia, water comes to you in Soviet Russia. Anyway, so then we go. He's
Russia,
telling the story
doesn't
in
rain.
the narrative. He's telling
We
the
ran on the
story of the
train.
narrator. he's playing the part of the narrator, in which he tells the story of the unexpected journey. We are greeted to this version of Bilbo Baggins, which I hate to say it, my audience, but there's just something about this guy who's playing him that just makes me want to punch him in the face. And I know, it's not the foreign aspect of it or the fact that he's Russian. It just seriously, he just Bilbo's supposed to be like a humble kind of character, you know. You're supposed to kind of be like, oh, this guy's smoking weed out on his porch. He doesn't want an adventure. He's a hobbit, you know. He's down for brunch and breakfast and second breakfast.
That nigga's a
This
Reagan.
guy, I'm just like, man, fuck this guy. Like right off, he just kind of has this like I am the star of this fucking thing, and you know, like everybody's just feeding him lines, and it drives me nuts. It just drives me
Yeah,
nuts.
the actor was like, "This is going to make me so you guys can either get on my train
Yeah,
or get out of my way."
because
This is my big ticket.
because everyone
Line.
knows what happened to these guys after this movie, because it failed so bad they went to the gulag. Anyway, so we're also greeted to, of course, the main man Gandalf. And I want to add to, and me and Steve have mentioned this a lot. What is with the lack of epicness for a wizard? And don't give me that Harry Potter shit, Dave, because I think the 1970 animated version did it better when he's like, "I am Gandalf," and Gandalf means me. The other movies, he's just like, "I am Gandalf," and in this one, he's just sort of like, "I am Gandalf." And
Everyone's
Gandalf.
going off that weird ass Disney fucking persona of what a wizard should be.
Right.
Think about it. They did the Sword in the Stone. They did Black Cauldron. They had kind of like the leading idea of what a wizard looks like, what a wizard portrays himself.
And
It's the
the
evil
Russians
ones
had
the loudest.
style too, because they were the first, I guess, in this film to depict glitter
A
beards.
blowout.
No,
Yeah,
glitter
and a
beards,
blowout.
because Gandalf has the most beautiful, gorgeous, long ass glitter beard you've ever fucking seen. Dude, this shit is like down to his waist.
It's one of those things that makes you
Shitting on ZZ Top, bro.
yeah, it makes you wonder what was going on in the Soviet Union back then.
Well, actually,
A lot of strippers.
behind
They
the
fucked a
scenes of
lot
this,
strippers.
behind the scenes of this is actually a version of The Hobbit that is told in the USSR, but because it was edited, to that version. So basically, it was heavily edited.
Oh,
And throughout this film, I want
okay.
to say too, me and Steve want to note that you will never hear anything about anything being more powerful than anything else, because it all comes back. It really, and I'm not saying they literally say it, but it really just seems like they come back to the Soviet Union, like nothing is bigger than
Oh
Mother
shit.
Russia.
Oh shit. They
They
control
never say
everything.
anything is powerful. They never say Gandalf is powerful. They never say Smog is powerful. They never say he's more powerful than anything else in the world. They just say, "Oh yeah, Smog." But they
So wait,
never ever. It's really like this kind of like, let's keep it to where it's not really. He can't be too powerful.
He can't
Anyway,
be that powerful.
no
ironically
one
enough,
bigger than the program.
ironically enough, though, this film they do follow the book to some degree. I mean, the dialogue was pretty spot
That
on.
seems.
And it even starts out the same way as Peter Jackson's The Hobbit. He marks his door, and then the dwarves begin to show up. And let me just say, these songs can only be expressed probably as brilliantly in Russian. I don't know, I guess, because they are fucking amazing. And I don't mean that in a good way.
Rated.
Because they got a conga line going in this thing.
Yeah.
Might I add to that Bilbo's house is the same warehouse as the narrator, because outside you see this horrible painting of like what is a Hobbit home, but inside it's like this complete huge void.
Bro, they shot that shit with like $40 in a pack of cigarettes. Leave
Right,
them alone.
right. That's what I'm saying. But we
It's like
have to get
without
points
the
for trying.
fake JR told put up the walls and like some fake window in the back, start the conga line. It's like what is happening here?
But Luke, I don't know if you got to one of the most brilliant lines in the film that was obviously added by the USSR, brilliantly, I might add too,
Brilliantly,
because it had me thinking. They literally say that there's a part where the giants that they depict in the night are gonna kick Feely like a football. And I got real nervous for a second, because I went back and I was like, did I not read Lord of the Rings, Luke? Is there some kind of NFL football league that exists in Middle Earth
Oh, Connor.
where the elves play the elves and the orcs play the orcs? Because how do they know what a football is?
yeah. I
Again,
don't I
Mother
don't
That's
Russia.
believe
after they won the
so.
cup. They did that after they won the cup, bro. They were like, yes, we let them know we win.
Oh,
Winner.
oh man, probably because this film, as we said, when you see the orcs in this film as well, holy shit, they just look like homeless people. And again, we have Bilbo, doing his Bilbo thing throughout the whole film. Hey, let's not forget that scene, Steve, of when Gandalf appears and puts the sword through the king of the goblins, who I
God.
won't lie,
Yes.
didn't know he's the king of the goblins. So he's like, I'm this huge homeless guy, fat homeless guy. He's
I'm
like,
just
I'm
this
the king of the
big guy.
goblins.
I'm just a fat guy. Yeah, just
Yeah,
a fat guy. Put some stuff on him. He's good. No
he's the king of the
makeup. Nah. He just. What about his wardrobe? Should we change his wardrobe? No, he's all right.
It's all right. So I love it too, because it's obviously you can see the strings like
Yeah.
go through his body, which is fucking great. I mean, these special effects are really fucking good. Don't get me wrong. I also love how the quest is usually depicted with them moving through the trees. There's just like this set of fucking trees, and they're moving through them, and it's just like, that's the journey. The journey. Everyone knows a fucking journey has to be around the bend of trees everywhere. We all know that. I mean, that they needed that in the original Lord of the Rings. But you know what the real problem of this movie was? You know what would have made it better, Luke?
Who?
This Hobbit movie by the USSR. What they really should have done for this USSR version was make it 3 films. that was the real fucking problem. Is it wasn't 3 films. That's what they needed to do, and they needed to cut what was basically, I think 100, maybe 200, less than 200 pages into, a script that took 3 hours each.
Took 3 hours for each film.
That would have done it. That would have done it. But some of these effects are just brilliantly done. We had the. I love it too, because you can tell when they actually come to the men of Lake Town to depict dwarves really small. I guess they're thinking dwarves that go to your knees. because they show them. It's obviously that they're
Those
depicting on a
niggas is
movie
L's,
screen
they ain't dwarves.
with the
Niggas is
guys
L's.
watching it from there. So they filmed the other
That shit
guys
took
looking
place.
down.
They
And then
took place in where Santa Claus is at. Them niggas is elves from the South Pole.
they did.
That shit is crazy.
But let's go ahead and skip to the main
That shit
delicious
crazy.
part. And I know everyone's wondering what did it look like? Smog in this film looked brilliant. Smog in this film looked like a puppet. And let me just say what was fucking great is before we had Peter Jackson's and the animated version, this was the live version of Smog that we had. And it still kind of played off the book a little bit. They still, they fucking followed the book more than the fucking Hobbit did, so I can give them fucking credit for that.
Right.
So at least they did that.
Right.
But there was no battle of four armies, my audience. They basically kind of skipped to where Bilbo's just like, oh, I woke up and the battle happened. I mean, it was one of those cheesy kind of off-screen. Luke knows what I'm talking about. And, ironically, we're talking about Kevin Smith, where it's like, oh, there's a battle going on over there.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I should go check it out. Battle's over.
Because you didn't even mention the best part about what Smeagol looked like in this film.
You're right. Smeagol, when he's giving his riddles, I mean, he's doing this weird like leg dance down in there in the cave. Like he looks like he's on fucking crack. He just looks like a crackhead, a homeless Jewish crackhead. And I'm not being. That's good to pick. He really does. I mean, he even has it's a shanda. I mean, he has a fucking thing wrapped around his goddamn head.
His head, and it's green, and then it's just a dude who has green slime on his face.
With a big nose.
With a big nose, and it's just, yeah.
It's obvious. It's obvious what they're trying to say.
Yeah, I don't know if you've noticed this, Rob, but the actor who plays Smeagol is constantly looking into the camera too, which is one of the best parts about it.
That curse, you know what I'm talking about.
That curse of like, I don't want to get shot if I don't do a good performance in this film, so let me just get like so close to the camera.
And you cannot say our audience that we're being mean or stereotypical or anything like that, because realistically, Luke, back me up here. There's been many depictions of Smeagol where he just looks like a Jewish guy, echoes the Jewish anti-Semitism.
Kind of like there's just a weird, there's the Semitic trope. So, and I don't really think that. I mean, there's no indication that that's what
they hit it as good as Disney did
doing anyway. So, it's weird.
I mean, even Will Ferrell referenced it in his stand-up, You're Welcome, America, where he was like, if I want to get a tattoo of that Jewish guy from Lord of the Rings on my back, what's his name? And someone's like, Smeagol. He's like, Smeagol on my back. I mean, I've heard that joke a lot. That's why it's kind of like, for me.
Really knew he was Jewish, though. That's the crazy part. They were just so
really
blatant, like.
Go back and be honest with you, my audience, because it is actually a real story that it's based off of a Norwegian prince stealing a ring, actually. I believe it's a ring, but he actually turns into a serpent. And that's pretty much the USSR Hobbit film in a nutshell, my audience. What I give it on this podcast is I give it a fucking 8.
I'll give it higher than that for Russian ratings.
-8.
Probably a 9. I'm giving it a 9, dude.